Hello again, my name's John. I'm a retired cook from the northeast of England in the UK, and welcome to my latest video recipe. And in this video I teamed up with Waitrose stores, and I've agreed to replicate one of Waitrose's own recipes on my channel, and it's this amazing turkey or chicken and ham pie. It's extremely tasty and very easy to make. An ideal recipe for using up your leftover turkey and ham after Christmas. You can view and download the ingredients list and full written method for this recipe from the Waitrose website. I'll leave a link in the description box below the video. Okay, let's get on with today's recipe. I'll start by preparing the leeks. Once they've been thoroughly washed, top and tail them. Then cut them straight down the middle, place them side by side and very carefully finely slice them as shown. When you're finished, you should have approximately 300 grams, that's 11 ounces of cut leeks. Now on to preparing the garlic. You'll need 4 to 5 cloves depending on the size. Simply peel and thinly slice them. And set those aside for now. Now measure out 30 grams, that's 3 tablespoons of plain or all-purpose white flour. The flour will be used as the thickening agent for the pie filling, and set that aside for now. Right, on to making the pie filling. On a low heat, melt the butter in a medium to large size saucepan. Once the butter's hot, add your leeks. Now add a 1/4 teaspoon of dried thyme. Next is a pinch of salt. Be careful how much salt you add at this stage, because when we add the ham later, that can be relatively salty. We can always taste for more seasoning once the ham's been added. Now you need to slowly cook and reduce the leeks over 10 minutes. Once your leeks are cooked, you can add the sliced garlic. Stir it in and cook for a further minute. The aroma coming off this already is amazing. Now add your flour and give it a good mix in. And like I said earlier, the flour is the thickening agent for the filling, and the reason for adding it now is to cook out that floury taste. Next ingredient is the 30 grams or 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. This adds a wonderful tarty tang to the finished filling. Time to add your 500 ml of chicken or turkey stock, but add it gradually, in about 3 stages, mixing and bringing it to a simmer each time. If you don't have any natural stock, use a couple of chicken or vegetable stock cubes instead. Also, Waitrose does a nice chicken stock pot too. Once all of your stock's in, bring it to a simmer and add your double or heavy cream and mix that in. Along with the flour in the recipe, the cream will also help thicken the filling. Next to go in is the whole grain mustard. This gives the filling a fantastic flavour. Now add your chopped fresh herbs. You can use fresh tarragon or dill, or what I'm using, which is 10 grams of chopped flat leaf parsley, and give that a good mix in. Time to add your meat. I'm using leftover pulled roast turkey breast and leg meat, and according to the Waitrose recipe you can use chicken too. All depends whatever you have at hand. And for the ham, I'm using this packet of pulled ham hock, but you can use whatever leftover ham that you have left after the holidays. Thoroughly mix it all together. Now give it a taste for seasoning. Turn off the heat, cover it and let it completely cool before making the pie. Ideally, this should be made the day before and allowed to cool in the fridge overnight, which is exactly what I'm going to do. Use a suitable pie dish and gently scrape the now chilled filling into it. The dimensions of the pie tin that I'm using are on screen. Now give the tin a couple of taps on the bench to settle it down and set it aside for now. For convenience, I'm using this store-bought roll of butter puff pastry, but you can make your own homemade puff pastry if you prefer. I have a wonderful how to make homemade puff pastry video on my channel. I'll leave a link in the description box to where you can find it. If you are using store-bought, gently unroll your puff pastry sheet. A little tip here, take your pastry out of the fridge an hour before you make the pie. It'll unroll so much easier and it won't crack. Once you have it unrolled, sprinkle a little flour over the top of the pastry. Turn it over onto the floured side and gently peel off the paper. Sprinkle a little more flour over this side of the pastry, and if you're using a 10-inch pie dish like mine, you'll need to carefully make it a little wider with your rolling pin, because usually these store-bought pastry rolls are only 9 inches wide. Now get your pie dish to use as a guide to see how much you need to trim off the end. Cut the excess off with your dough scraper. Now roll your pastry under the rolling pin and set it aside for the moment. Before going any further, preheat your oven to 190 Celsius, that's 375 Fahrenheit, or gas mark 5. On to making the egg wash. Crack your egg into a small bowl and give it a good whisk for a minute or so until your egg is nice and runny. As you've probably gathered, this is a pastry top only pie, known in the trade as a top crust pie. And to help it stick to the edges, you need to brush the egg wash all around the rim of your pie dish. Now carefully line it up and unroll your pastry over the filling. Once on, carefully press down the edges onto the edged rim of the pie dish. Try to gently squeeze out any air bubbles caught under the pastry. Pick up the dish and trim off the excess pastry. To make sure it's stuck, just go round the edges again, pressing the pastry down. Using your leftover pastry, you can make up some shapes as decoration. I'm going to use this star pastry cutter for mine. Right, let's prepare it for the oven. First, I'll cut a few vent holes in the centre of the pastry. Now brush your egg wash all over the pie lid. If you have made any, arrange your shapes over the top of the pastry. Now give those a good coat of the egg wash too. Once you're happy you've got everything covered in the egg wash, get it into the preheated oven. Now set your timer for 40 minutes. Depending on how accurate your oven temperature runs, this could take a little less or a little more time. Just keep an eye on it. Once the time's up and you're happy with the colour, remove it from the oven. Remember, the filling is cooked. All you're really doing with the filling is heating it up. Therefore, what you need to concentrate on is getting that pastry to a nice golden brown colour. Now get it onto a rack to settle down and cool for 10 minutes before serving. As a little bonus, and using on-screen instructions, I'll very quickly go through how to make Waitrose's delicious rosemary salt roast potatoes, and I'll even suggest a great dessert to finish off this delicious meal. Okay, time to get this plated up. Cut a wedge of that pie crust and get it onto a serving plate. This puff pastry is so light and crispy. Spoon out lots of that delicious filling and get it under the pie crust on the plate. Now the vegetable I'll use for this is a good helping of steamed broccoli. Finally, add some of those amazing roast potatoes. And now I can try a piece of that delicious pie crust and filling. And honestly, this is one of the most tastiest pies I've ever made. Soon as the camera's off, I know what I'm having for my evening meal. And to finish off the meal, treat yourself to a piece of this gorgeous New York cheesecake from Waitrose. I also have a tutorial video on how to make this delicious strawberry sauce. Hope you try this one, guys. It's easy to make and an absolute certain Christmas keeper recipe. Without a doubt, a massive thumbs up for this one. Well, thank you again for watching. Please like, share, comment and subscribe by hitting the circle above. If you do subscribe, activate the bell icon next to the subscribe button on my channel page. And by doing that, you'll be automatically notified every time I upload a new video. And in the meantime, here's a few of my other videos and playlists that you may want to watch. So, until the next time, be safe in your kitchen and bye for now.